You know, we are now hearing from James Crumbley's attorney, Mariell Lehman, for the first time. She spoke with NBC News, and she said that James was shocked when he heard the verdict.
We know that James didn't know what his son was planning. We know that he didn't know that his son had obtained access to the firearms, any of the firearms in the house. He wasn't aware that his son had taken a firearm that day. And we really felt that we had shown the jury that he didn't know. And he had acted based on the information that he had, and that he didn't know what his son was planning.
We heard from the jury for a person told the Detroit Free Press that it came down to storage of the gun and not getting Ethan mental health help. Your thoughts on that?
I understand that that was his reason, and those were issues for the jury. Obviously, we're disappointed by the verdict, but I did see the article. I do know that those were the reasons that he gave.
Do you think the outcome would have been different had James testified?
No, I don't think so. The jury heard from James. They heard him in his interviews. There were, I think, 4 videos played, and then also the 911 call. They heard from James. They heard what he would have said on the stand. So I don't think that they would have heard anything different from him than what they'd already heard.
And can you talk about what sentence you all will request next month?
I am going to be filing a sentencing memorandum where I will request a potential sentence, but I haven't done so yet. So once I file that, then we'll make the decision on what I'm asking for.
How is James doing today?
He's okay. He's disappointed, but we're taking everything one step at a time.
Has he been able to talk with Jennifer? Are they able to communicate?
No.
So at sentencing, will that be the first time they talk or see each other?
No, they've seen each other before trial. Before each of their trials, they've seen each other. But since each of their trials, yes, that will be the first time.
Did Jennifer's trial happening before James help you with your strategy, or was it an advantage or a disadvantage?
You know, I can't really say for sure. I've kind of always viewed this case the same since the beginning. James didn't know. He had no reason to know. He had no reason to suspect anything. And that's kind of been my approach the whole time. So that didn't change. And Jennifer's trial going first didn't change that. Does
he still communicate with Ethan in any way? Do they write letters to each other?
No.
Do you, now I'm curious, your team requested that Ethan's journal would not be allowed into evidence and that some of the video would be kept out. If that had have been granted, if that request was granted, do you think the outcome would have been different? Do you think this was an emotional verdict?
I think it could have been different. Again, I'm not going to fault anyone for any emotions that were involved. As I said throughout the trial, it was an incredibly emotional trial. There was incredibly emotional evidence that was presented. It was in Oakland County, which, you know, by itself heightens the emotions a bit because people in Oakland County are more directly affected by what happened at Oxford High School than people in another county. So I don't fault anyone for that, but I do think that if the journal and the video had not come in, that things could have been different. I mean, we can't say because it didn't happen that way, but it's always possible that things could have been different.
And you wonder if that's going to be a point of appeal in this case. One thing that I forgot to tell you, my conversation with Buck Meir went on for probably about 20 minutes or so, and we're going to put that entire conversation up at clickondetroit.com for you.